you think that the Me Too movement would have happened if all these celebrities and these famous names had not popped up? Harvey Weinstein, Bill Cosby. Do you think that we would be talking about this right now? Do you think it would be as big as it is now?
I don't.
I don't as well.
Yeah.
I think when you put one of these powerful women's faces out there, you have like Alyssa Milano, all of these movie stars that you look up to, you're watching their shows as you grow up, and you see them speaking out, it motivates you, like if she can do it, I can do it. But if we're just talking and nothing's happening, and we're just like, oh, this happened to me, well, this happened to me too, it doesn't really empower you. But when you see these powerful women in these positions, it just fuels that fire in you, and that woman empowerment, just that aspect of it really comes to light.
Yeah.
But a lot of this stuff, though, happened, like you said, though, to these celebrity women and others. It happened many years ago. Let's get to Bill Cosby.
Right.
The women that came up, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. We just had a recent one where one of his alleged attackers was from a university just a few years ago. Would we be talking about it now if it wasn't Bill Cosby?
Honestly, I don't think so. I think this movement has given the women kind of like the okay to admit their vulnerability and to admit these things had happened, because there was kind of always a stereotype that followed being the victim of like a sexual crime or a sexual assault. And it's okay to admit it now. It's okay to show that vulnerable side that has happened and to inspire other women to share their stories and finally get prosecution for these men that deserve to be prosecuted.
So, of course, we're talking about how women are now coming out and openly discussing it, and we're sort of accepting it, and men are too.
Right.
But tell me, is it easy for men now to also open up and to hear about it and to discuss it? How do you think it's going about?
I think so. I think that obviously, this movement, I feel like, is not exclusive, but rather inclusive of men as well, who also, unfortunately, they not only can be targeted for sexual harassment, but also I feel like that a lot of men, especially like in Hollywood and all of these very hierarchical positions, they could be in some ways forced indirectly to have sort of influence, if you will, influence or power over, I guess women who are maybe a few positions below them. And so, yeah, I think that this is very inclusive, and men can obviously talk about it. They can feel sympathetic, maybe not in the way that another woman could, but still, they can definitely take part.
So it sounds like they're also, on that note, this kind of conversation is sparking those like Mark Zuckerberg talking about equal pay now, or having more women as CEOs. What do you think? Do you think now is the time to take this action and go full speed ahead, or do you think we still have more steps to go?
I think we have plenty more to go. I think it's so interesting to me that I would have to respectfully disagree that men are taking that leap, that it's more inclusive. I actually feel like there's more people that are shying away from people that are associated as like victims, especially in the movie industry. If someone's associated, like Kevin Spacey, his name, if anybody was a victim, they want to shy away from hiring them or casting them because they don't want to be associated with this movement, because it kind of it taints the name of the organization or these higher up companies. I would like to see more men stepping forward, taking accountability, seeing that transparency. I think those are the two key things that we need to see, is transparency and accountability, especially. And I think that was a great thing that Uber did. Uber's CEO actually started that flow and started saying that we're taking accountability and this needs to stop and we're doing the right thing, period. And that was actually a direct quote from him. So I think that's just the beginning, and we need to see way more from here.
Yeah.
Because what does it mean if they take accountability then? What does it mean for us as a society, a community? Do we lead to more trust then? Or are we looking for them to bring out more names so then we can blame them?
It's definitely a trust building scenario. The Me Too movement isn't to bring down powerful men. It's not to make powerful men feel uncomfortable. Like, it's all right to be a powerful man, but you can't abuse that power. And I think that's what the discussion is trying to be. It's a healing process for the victims, for the women, and it's not supposed to be focused on you know, the men in a high power. It's supposed to be focused on the journey and healing these women. And if, you know, some of these men coming out of power because of things that they've done, it helps with the healing process.
And the improvements directly are, I think Uber, again, bringing them up, are doing a great job because they're taking away these confidentiality agreements, saying that, you know what, if you want to take this to court, even arbitration is not required. You can do whatever you need to do, regardless of whether it taints our image, as long as you feel okay, because we're taking part of that blame, and we're going to do whatever you think you need to do to heal. So I think that's part that I, as a woman, I'm excited to see that there's these companies making these shifts and changes that, yes, they're not taking people, you can't work here, you can't work there. It's more of like, I'm taking substantial steps to do and implement what you need because you were the victim.
We need more companies and more men in high roles to put down the ultimatum of, I want my female counterpart to earn the same. And you need that support from the male leads, and even like acting roles, like a lead actor and a lead actress should be paid the same for the movie that's generating, you know, millions and millions of dollars. There's no reason to not have equal pay for, you know, equal work.
Do you find though that that a lot of these men, or a lot of these companies, or even some of these networks, that they're making this movement now because it's in the news, the voices are being heard, people are demonstrating and marching and so forth. But do you feel that we are moving in that direction, or do you think that this is just a soft comb over until the dust settles? We've already done something with Harvey Weinstein, we've done something now with Bill Cosby. Are we now slowly going back into maybe what was almost a norm?
Of course, ultimately it's hard to say, but I think that I think we probably are moving forward in the sense that, because, you know, I think that obviously every generation, you know, our culture in a way changes. You know, our work culture, you know, how people are treated at work, and of course, you know, so many things have changed. And you know, I've seen movies like from the 1950s. Of course, you know, movies are not like the best piece of evidence, but like meaning. You know, before, you know, like at work, you were allowed to smoke, and there were men that, of course, sexually harassed women, and back then, the ultimate, and of course that's wrong. I would never justify it, but the ultimate framework, they, you know, they have allowed this to like happen, to like keep going. So like if one person does it, the framework, just, you know, like wealthier people, you know, because they have, because they're getting wealth, perhaps from the employees or whatever, they didn't say anything. But now, as you know, as like time goes on, yeah, of course, you know, people are speaking up, and that makes a change, I think.
So are you starting to see this change then, these demonstrations, these movements, and is it just by celebrities, sports figures? Are you starting to hear from the outside of the community, and what should we do to rally them to continue to speak up?
Everyday people are definitely stepping up, at least posting, sharing their experiences. It takes a lot of courage to share with your friends and family. But I think now that there's like the taste, a little taste of equality coming up, I don't think people are gonna let it die.
And I think just people in like middle class, just talking about it, that's what we need. It doesn't have to be these big names. I mean, you have things like Grateful Garment, which is a nonprofit in the San Jose, and not many people know about it, but when women are raped, they go to the hospitals and they're sent home in their gowns because their clothes are taken for evidence. And this organization supplies the clothes for them so they don't have to do that, and it empowers them. And it's starting there and working up. I think that's great.
So basically a movement like this has helped spark an organization like that to get recognized, as well as being noticed about the work that they're doing and continue to do and have been doing. And a lot of this actually has also been built up by whether it's Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. So social media has actually been a powerhouse for this kind of movement.
Exactly.
Right.
Great, thank you everybody.